Indiana Jones. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute, the podcast in which we celebrate and discuss the film Raiders of the Lost Ark 1 minute at a time. I'm Tom Taylor from IamTomTaylor.com.
I'm Pete Mummert from PeteRemembers.com.
I'm Jerry Porter from Hazelshould.com.
And joining us again is our guest Paul Sullivan. Welcome back, Paul.
Hey, how are you? I'm the host of the Sully Baseball Daily podcast, where we do 365 new baseball podcasts a year. And I'm also the producer of the podcast Real Crime Profile, which I'm not on, but I produce, where we break down crime shows like Making a Murderer, The People vs. O.J. Simpson, and a lot of other really dastardly shows.
Oh, very cool. That's awesome.
I don't do enough podcasts. 365 were not enough podcasts for me to do a year.
That's why you're here.
That's right.
You got to fill in every last second.
Keep them coming.
All right. How about minute 49? How does that grab you?
Done.
Minute 4, not quite. Minute 49 begins with the monkey jonesing for some dates, and it ends with Indy confirming with Sala that the German's headpiece only had markings on one side. So yeah, we see this minute starts with the monkey kind of hanging out by the bowl, and we all know what happens to him. I can. It's next minute, but I can spoil it, right? But when you saw this the first time, did you fully expect that they were going to kill the cute little monkey, or was it going to be like, oh no, he's too close to the dates. Oh no, he's going to eat you got like just adding that kind of tension, and then he saved it the last second or something? Or is Indiana Jones that monkey who's almost eating
I missed this whole scene when I was a kid. I was worried about the monkey.
For real?
That's all I was thinking about.
Oh my gosh.
I was thinking as a kid, I was like, wait a minute. The monkey and Barranca have such great communication.
Yeah.
There's no way, the monkey's either going to take the date and he's going to strategically place it on the table, but there's no way the monkey's going to make some sort of error or mistake, because clearly in the last few minutes, Barranca held his hand up and was like, hey, that's the sign.
Yeah.
Maybe he said uh-oh because he realized he was going to be involved in some sort of suicide pact at that point. And that could have been what uh-oh was.
That's a good point. I would buy that.
Yeah, the hand over the brake.
It's nowhere near a good point.
But it does explain the uh-oh.
I took a Robert McKee story conference once, and he said that if you introduce a Nazi monkey in Act 1, you have to make sure he's killed by Act 2.
And they just did it in minute 1 and minute 2. So
pretty much. Well,
yeah.
Look at Spielberg. It's Spielberg. If I've seen one film with a Nazi monkey, I've seen them all.
All monkeys are Nazis at heart, but they're so cute.
That's almost a haiku.
I'm going to work on that. I'll see if I can hone that into an actual haiku and then post it on the internet for the world.
Yeah, there you go.
But we finally get Indy and Sala hunker down next to Doug Henning, who transcribes the headpiece for them. And we finally see the headpiece up close. And it actually is, like we were wondering about this back in Nepal when Indy described it as that it had a hole in it off center. We're like, is it really off center? But here you can actually see that it actually is much closer to either the top or the bottom than the center. And that was kind of a relief for me for some reason. That had been nagging at me. Indy does know what he's talking about, even though he's never seen a picture or.
Is the headpiece? It's a bird, with a crystal for the crystal is part of the eye, like the bird's eye.
Yeah.
Oh, is it really?
Raw,
Get out of here.
If it's raw, it's most likely a falcon.
A what falcon?
If it's raw.
If it's raw, it's some kind of 1,000-year-old falcon, which I guess would make it a millennial.
Oh, like a millennial falcon. Okay.
Oh,
there you go.
Is that really his eye, though? I never noticed that.
Yeah,
even
it's
this time.
a bird with and the crystal is like an eye.
Yeah, it's some sort of Egyptian thingy thing, and that's a technical term.
Yeah,
this bugs me so much though. This whole headpiece, because this movie made me want to be an archaeologist, and I took a bunch of like worthless classes in college because of that. One of which was a year and a half of ancient Hebrew, and the headpiece is written in a really early form of Hebrew. The alphabet was actually Phoenician, which is cool because that's the time period. But the fact that this is written in Hebrew really bothers me for two reasons. One, Indiana Jones does not speak Hebrew if he has no idea what this says. And it seems it makes him a really bad choice to go after this. Like that he's the expert. But then two, why would an Egyptian pharaoh write his headpiece that honors his god in the language of a conquered people? Why would he write it in Hebrew?
For goofs.
But it sort of makes him a heretic king, which is it's a strange thing.
All I can say is Indiana Jones is an archaeologist. He knows what he's doing. This movie is about history. I'm going to take everything in it as historical fact. And so I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, Pete.
I don't know. I think that year and a half was well spent, Pete.
This is the first time I've used that in 22 years.
Hey, it's worth
It's probably the only time I will ever use it. Thank you, Professor Kai. I appreciate the class.
Is there a correlation between wisdom and a super voice? Because Imam, come, look.
Sit down. The world of
And I'm
illusion.
like, why do we trust this guy? I mean, we all know. You're like, why do you know that this guy is smart and he's like the kid? Like there's a guy that we're gonna see and he's gonna solve this.
Yeah.
And it's him. And you're like, okay, the headscarf that makes him say it is his luxurious gray locks. Is it the telescope? Is it the super high voice? But we know that this guy, despite the fact that we have archaeologists and Belloc and everybody the world over, they apparently, you assume they went to the, all the experts. But why do we know that this guy is smart?
Well, and the other thing along those lines is Indy's. What was Indy's plan? He comes out there. He's got the headpiece, and then he hands it over to Sala, whose job is to grab a shovel and dig. And says, what do you make of these markings? And he says, perhaps a man I know can help. That's what I say. Like, hey, do you know who can fix this? My iPad's not working right now. That guy I know may be able to help you. I mean,
He's got a screwdriver.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't. It's not like, oh, this mystical man. This could be just a guy he knows from his bridge club or something like that, who's always talking about,
Well, I know. They're like,
how does he know?
well, and it's like he's got the highest voice in the whole city, so he knows what's going on.
That's a sign of wisdom, yeah. So they.
Yeah, it's a sign of
Yoda,
wisdom.
Yeah.
Come.
Let me tell you, he doesn't have 8 or 9 kids like Sala. Sala's voice is deep.
That's right. He's got 8 or 9 grandkids. That doesn't count.
I'll tell you, speaking of Sala, I figured it out, why Sala looks so uncomfortable, specifically in this minute, is he is both a boutonniere and a hanky on.
Yeah.
He's
style.
way over accessorized. And you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't have the boutonniere and the hanky.
Sala would.
Yeah, Sala's got 9 kids. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Whatever he's doing is working just fine.
Yeah, you don't mess with Sala.
Right. That's messing with perfection.
Sala's got game. That's all I know. He's got game.
There's one thing in this minute that we were just talking about how perfect and awesome Spielberg is doing a job here in this movie, but there's one shot that I'm kind of like, really? They show, after showing the monkey hanging out near the bowl of dates, they actually cut to him eating one of the dates. And I'm like, no, wait. When you go to film school and you watch North by Northwest and you read about Alfred Hitchcock and he tells you, like, there's a bomb under the table and you know it, like, it's weird that they show the monkey eating the thing because you're like, oh, now the monkey's dead. We know that the dates are poisoned. Like, if they don't show the monkey, you're like, oh, no, is the monkey going to eat something and die? And then, like, you'll find his body later and Sala saves Indy at the last second. Spoilers. But to show him eating the thing, it seems like that sort of diffuses that a little bit. And you're like, oh, okay, the monkey's dead. We'll discover that in a second. Like, it doesn't add anything to the tension of whether or not Indy's going to eat his date, and get poisoned. You know what I'm
think
saying?
maybe they showed it and they tested it in Culver City, and they said, well, the people writing little comment cards and like, why did the monkey die? I don't understand why the
He was
monkey
only next to
died."
the dates.
They never showed him eating it. They never showed him eating it.
Was it an airborne poison? That should have been spelled out.
He calls up Michael Kahn, said, Christ's sakes, put in the shot of the monkey eating. God damn it. We didn't even.
Yeah. That was actually shot in Michael Kahn's
That was the one studio
dining room.
note that they took, was the, yeah.
Works for me.
I have to say that shot did not really affect my enjoyment of the film.
No, and I never even noticed it until I was watching it a minute at a time for this cockamamie show.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not really how the film was designed to be watched.
Right.
It's like the Alfred Hitchcock Murder of a Monkey.
Yeah.
That was the original title of Vertigo, actually. Then they changed it.
Barbara Bell Geddes is not a monkey. Come on. That's terrible.
Well,
Mitch,
in this scene,
Mitch, you're a
yeah,
monkey, Mitch.
we have one more time where Indy's warned not to go near the Ark. It's
Yep.
like the very first thing that the old man says. He says, "Don't touch the fucking Ark, okay?" And of course, Indy pays no heed to the warning, and he just bulldozes the whole thing. He's like, "Yeah." But what does Belloc have, right?
I love this.
And I mean, that's a theme. We've seen it now like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah. Well, Dan O'Malley tells him not to do it.
Yeah,
Sala
exactly.
tells him not to do it. That guy tells him not to do it. You know, the monkey was screaming it at one point, but no one can understand it.
Right. You get the dates out of his mouth, maybe people can understand him.
You know what the thing about this is actually the Nazis go to Doug Henning to read the headpiece of the Staff of Ra, which means he's not just Sala's buddy who has this weird hobby. He's kind of well known. Like if there were Yelp reviews for I've got like ancient Egyptian artifacts. Let me tell you, this is a guy. He knows what he's doing. You got to deal with the telescope, and the dates are kind of weird. But he's clean. He has soap. He's fine. And he'll probably bitch and moan. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. So you just bear with it. Let him tell his stories. And at weird moments there'll be incense burning, and there's a stairway going up. But he does the job.
So wait, you think the Nazis went to him?
Well, he said, is this where Belloc got it? Is this where Belloc got Belloc got it off of here? He mentioned it as if he read this for Belloc as well.
Oh, interesting. Oh, see, I always just sort of took that as like Indy's making a reference to what he knows, but not necessarily like, he's basically just saying, what about the height of the staff? Does that say it on here? But he throws in Belloc's name.
That as Belloc was just there. He was just it was like the previous now serving. This.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. That's weird.
I do have a question about the inscription, though, Tom. You were talking about perhaps a little person in the last scene.
Yeah.
Is everybody in this movie a little person?
Clearly, Porkins isn't.
Or Sala.
Because we get the inscription on the headpiece, which is it's around 72 inches tall, 6 feet. And then they say, wait, we have to take back 1 qadam, so that would make the staff 5 feet tall. And so when we see Indy using the staff, and the staff towers over Indy, are we to assume that everybody in this movie is just really, really short?
He's digging in the wrong place. Wow, that's crazy.
That's genius.
Wow, Pete wins this week.
Yeah, Pete wins this week. Gold star. Gold
Sorry,
star.
I'm cleaning up my brains because my head exploded like a scene from Scanners here. So hold on a second. Let me just put my brains together here.
There's
Hold
some.
on.
There's some on your shirt.
Yeah, man.
That's
everywhere.
crazy. That is really weird. You go into this thing thinking the archaeology and the logic is going to be airtight, and then it just messes with your head.
Oh, it could be airtight, just small, airtight.
Yeah. Oh my
This
God.
is the last film George Lucas was ever involved with that had any logical flaws in it.
Right. Yeah. No, he worked them out in this one and then moved forward. with a clean
Well,
slate.
when you look at the headpiece, does it say? I mean, can you use the year and a half of Hebrew studies to what does it say? I mean, what does it say? I see there's like a menorah-looking type thing on it.
No, the front actually says honor God and the tabernacle, one amah above the Kadam.
And the other says, be sure to drink your Ovaltine.
Ovaltine.
Rinso, 985 BC.
Oh my God.
But that does, there is a cut scene here as well that we do not get. That
Oh,
was
what?
an original scene in the original script where the imam warns them that if they touch the ark or look at the ark when it's open, they'll die.
Oh, that's interesting.
People have often wondered how
No
that-
way.
And there was a scene originally where the imam told them all that.
I remember that from the novelization. They actually mentioned that, like that not looking at it and not touching it.
Which is
They
why
mentioned
they
that somewhere.
use the sticks instead of picking up the ark. That's why they
Yeah.
put the poles in it to carry it instead of sort of go lift with your legs, like you're moving lawn furniture.
Lift with your poles.
That's kind of a big little thing there when you think about that. Don't look at it, Marion.
Yeah.
I don't care what happens. Don't look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just assumed he was real smart like.
Yeah,
An archaeologist.
Yeah,
Finally apply some archaeology,
Yeah, exactly.
some book learning.
And most of archaeology is knowing what to do when ghosts are flying around you while tied to a pole.
Yeah.
Yeah. How to measure sand.
Yeah. Yeah. The weight of sand versus gold. Yeah. It's all sorts of skills.
I love when the Lord makes his presence known through wind chimes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Once again,
He does
the
it at the end of this minute. He makes his presence known through wind chimes.
I think the headpiece just has a fan in it or something, because it does the same thing with when Marion takes it out. The
It's like a
candles
mystical
flicker.
fart. It's a mystical fart is what it is.
Yeah. It's the first whoopee cushion. Your mom squeezed it just the right way, and the wind chimes went bananas.
The Lord clearly lives in Sedona.
He who smelt it dealt it.
Belloc doesn't know that because he only has markings on one side.
I know. He didn't know who dealt it. All he did was smelt it.
Yeah. Well, on that note, now that we're getting into fart jokes, which we love, does anyone else have anything non-fart related for minute 59? I'm at 49? I'm sorry.
I think it is. I mean, it is one of these scenes that I love about Raiders. Again, I hate to actually praise the film.
No, please go ahead. We do it all the time.
This is my mother's favorite movie of all time, is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, you have an awesome mom.
And she has described this film as the most addictive movie of all time, that you could start it at any point in the film and be totally engrossed, and next thing you know, you're watching the end credits.
Yeah.
And this is a scene that if this were happened today, like something would fall through the roof and all of a sudden they'd have to fight it. There's a certain trust that we're allowed to have a scene which is essentially, three people and a monkey and apparently a dwarf serving dates are just talking about a thing the size of a Hostess cupcake, and that it's completely engrossing, it's completely dramatic, and that there's the tension of is he going to be poisoned, but there's also this revelation that, maybe we can get the Ark, maybe not all is lost. And it's a scene where you think of Raiders as having great action sequences and great action moments and everything, but this scene is as engrossing as any other part, and it's one of the things that makes the film so brilliant, is that on paper, this could be a dull scene, but it's really, they're digging in the wrong place. It's such a great moment in this, and that's what makes this film so brilliant.
No, I agree completely. We keep saying, we keep coming on these long talky scenes with 2 or 4 people just talking to each other for minutes on end, and those are some of the best scenes in the movie.
Let me tell you, if you do a minute for minute of Temple of Doom, there's going to be some minutes where we're like, all right, we're going to. Yeah, Billy Scott's talking about perfume or something.
Right.
They're still eating right now. That's no. But this film is just an example that there's virtually no fat. It is really, except apparently on Porkins. That there's
Poor Porkins.
I know. And William Hookins, may rest in peace. He had a great agent. But this just demonstrates that this minute that you just I mean, whoever gets the minute when they're doing the propeller about to slice up the mechanic dude, they're gee whiz. I wonder what they're going to be talking about. But this is actually really engrossing and shows what a great film it is.
Yeah.
Back to snark.
They don't make them like this no more.
No, let me tell you. Back then, there was a movie. That was the movies.
Now you got Rathtars jumping out of things and stuff and eating dudes.
Yeah, today's films. Back then, we had quality films like Porky's. We had quality films like Electric Dreams. Where are the Solar Babies? Where are the Condor Mans? I mean, come on. Where's the great pictures like that? Where's the Herbie Goes Bananas?
No, you said like something would crash through the ceiling and they'd have to fight it. That's exactly the first time I saw The Force Awakens. I was sitting there and that scene happened with Han Solo and the Rathtars, the big ball tentacle creatures. And that started happening. And I said to myself out loud in the theater, why is this happening?
It's my least favorite scene in the film.
That was one of my least favorite scenes in the movie until I found out that there is a direct quote of Raiders of the Lost Ark in that scene.
Oh, get out of here.
There's the sound of the Rathtars when they first come out is the sound of Ben Burt's Honda Civic rolling over gravel, which was the sound effect used for that giant rolling ball that chases Indy in the Jovito's temple.
Okay, now I love it.
Ties the film together.
It does. Write that down. That's awesome. Well, all right, Pete. Now that you've blown our minds at least twice in this episode, why don't you tell everybody where they can get in touch with us if they want their minds blown?
Check us out at IndianaJonesMinute.com. Check it. We've got a lot of things to see there. We've got a library section where we post a lot of things that have to do with what we're talking about on the show this week. Check it out. And check out Paul Sullivan at Sully Baseball. Great podcast if you're a baseball fan.
Totally. And check us out tomorrow when we come back for minute 50 of Raiders of the Lost Ark here on the Indiana Jones Minute. Come. Look here. Sit down. Look. Sit down. Look.
Wash dishes.
Rinso. 2 cans for $1.99.